What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to another video. In this one, I am going to be creating a tier list, ranking all of the things that are holding the modern man back the most. So if you're unaware of how these tier list rankings work, all right, we've got a chart here that outlines an S category, an A category, a B category, C, all the way through E. All right, and if I put something in the S category, what that means is that I think that it is something that is holding the modern man back substantially from seeing success, both when it comes to the financial side of things, the business side of things, but also when it comes to relationships and overall living a fulfilling life. All right, so the S tier are going to be the things that are the most potent, the most dangerous. All right, in the E tier, we're going to have things that I really don't think have that big of an effect on the modern man, things that you really shouldn't be worried about. Now, I've mentioned a lot of these things in previous videos already, but now you're going to get to see where I place them on this list. All right, so what we're going to do is we are going to go ahead and start off with the first one, which, as you can see, this man is in bondage to his computer. And so what we are going to be talking about first is porn addiction, something that is super common among young men. They are completely addicted to looking at some of the most beautiful women in the world. Often, it's a terrible degenerate spiral that takes place when men continue to watch porn over and over and over again. Things tend to get more and more degenerate. They spend more and more time watching it, and they have this instant gratification that they constantly have access to, either with their phones or with their computers. I think that this is something that is absolutely destroying the modern man. In fact, I think it is crippling most people, and in this photo it's clearly displayed that the modern man is in chains to his lust, to his desire, and for that reason I am going to put porn addiction all the way up here in the S tier. All right, I think it's absolutely terrible, absolutely life destroying. All right, the next thing is going to be video games. All right, video games, how destructive are they? Do I think that they are good? No, I've made that clear in many videos that I do not think that if you are above the age of 18 years old that you should be playing video games. I think it's incredibly detrimental to young men simply because they are playing as another character. They are spending their time trying to upgrade their character in a video game instead of trying to upgrade their character in real life. Go put that work into bettering yourself. Go put that work into building skills, all right? I really don't think that it's as big of a deal as the other things that we're going to talk about in this specific video, which is why I'm going to put it in the C tier, all right? I don't think that it's too detrimental, but definitely something that needs to be talked about and considered when it comes to becoming the best version that you possibly can of yourself as a man. All right, the next thing that we are going to be talking about is having a girlfriend. And you might say, well, Brandon, how does having a girlfriend hold you back from achieving success in life? Well, the truth is a lot of men end up with girls that drag them down, girls that slow them down, girls that make them question their principles and their standings, women that drag them away from their faith and their relationship with their Creator. I think that who you choose to be in a relationship with is probably the most important decision that you can make in your life. And I think a lot of men choose poorly, which is why I'm going to go ahead and throw this one in the B tier. Guys, please make sure that the relationships that you are having are bringing you up and they are not bringing you down. If they are bringing you down, please get out of the relationship. Do not waste time. Stop trying to protect people's feelings. Get it over with. End the relationship and go find someone that genuinely makes your life better. Someone that encourages you to be a better version of yourself. All right? A more disciplined, a harder working, an overall better man. Choose your partner very, very wisely. All right? Hookup culture is going to be the next one that we're talking about. How much is hookup culture holding back the man in today's society? I would say that hookup culture is probably just as detrimental as porn. And you may say, well, how is that, Brandon? You have to go through so much work to chase women, to text women on a regular basis, to maintain relationships solely for the sake of satisfying yourself sexually. And with all of that time, you could have spent it doing much better things. You could have been hanging out with a group of godly men. You could have been developing relationships that are actually worthwhile and not just based off of sexual gratification, which is why this is a massive time waster. And I'm going to go ahead and throw the pursuit of quick hookups into the S tier. And that means that both of the things that we have in our S tier right now have to do with lust. Guys, lust is the biggest thing that is holding men back. It is the worst type of sin. You can do it against yourself. You can do it against other people. It is truly one of the things that every single man needs to be incredibly aware of, is how his lust is affecting his life. Please understand that there is a version of you that is not a slave to lust. There is a version of you that is so much harder working, making so much more money, blessing the other people around you. And they are not constantly obsessed with trying to get that quick fix, that instant gratification, not trying to scratch the itch that is lust, all right? Next thing that we are going to be talking about is going to be weed. How much do I think weed is holding back the modern man? I think it's pretty substantial. When most men smoke weed, they do it to escape. They do it to go to a fantasy realm, and they do it to relax. I think that the modern man needs to do exactly the opposite of relax. I think we relax way, way too much. I think the modern man needs to sit forward more. I think the modern man needs to be more active in doing what he knows needs to be done. I think that this is quite possibly one of the most damaging drugs, which is why I am going to throw it in the A tier. I think it dissolves men's willpower, and it dissolves men's desire to go out and conquer. It makes you passive. It puts you in that relaxed state and encourages men to try to feel like they are escaping. All right? The next one I'm going to be talking about is low testosterone. So a lot of men complain. They say, oh, I have low testosterone. I feel like I have low testosterone. Men's testosterone is lower than ever, blah, 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 blah. I think a lot of this is cope. I honestly do. If you go and you actually get your blood levels checked and your testosterone is low, well, that sucks. But what I find is that there's a lot of men out there that don't go and get their levels tested, but they still say, oh, I think I have low testosterone. I think I have low testosterone. Do you want to know why most men act like they have low testosterone? It's because they act like they have low testosterone, not because they actually have low testosterone. It's because they're obsessed with all of these other drugs that are giving them instant gratification and instant hits of dopamine, and they're not going out and doing anything. They're not building confidence. They're not building a stack of proof that they are a worthy man, a man of honor, of truth, and of abundance, all right? Which is why I am going to throw this in the E tier. I think that actually having low testosterone, I think it's a super common excuse to why the modern man is weak, when in reality, I don't think that it's playing a massive role. I think the modern man is weak and has low testosterone because of the choices that he is making in his life, because of the food that he is choosing to eat, because of the lack of exercise. Which brings us into the next point, which is going to be a sedentary lifestyle. All right? How much is a sedentary lifestyle holding back the modern man? It's a lot. It's a lot. It's treating them to sit around all day, not go out, not use their body. Guys, we aren't just brains as human beings. We are brain, but we are also heart. We are flesh. Our bodies and our souls and our minds, they are supposed to be in congruence. And when your body is sitting around all day long, not moving, you are destroying yourself. Go read about the studies. When men's activity increases, so does their self-worth. So do all of their health markers. Men need to move. They need to move their body. They need to challenge their body. They need to be in congruence, mind, body, and soul, which is why I am going to go ahead and throw this one into the A tier. I genuinely think it is having that big of an impact on the modern man. And we'll go ahead and go into the next one, which has to do with having a daily routine. I think that a lot of men are held back because they don't set a routine in stone for themselves. Often men will have a routine when they're going through school, and that routine will enable them to be extremely productive, and work hard. But then when they kind of go off on their own, they start to relax a little bit more. They start to not pay attention to the things that they are doing throughout the day that are allowing them to be so much more productive and get so much more done. I'm going to go ahead and throw this one in a C tier. I think that a lot more men need to have daily routines. I think a lot more men need to wake up early. I think a lot more men need to have habits in their life that they're doing every single day that are pushing them towards greatness. The next one is going to be fear of God, the fear of the Lord, and a connection with your God, with your Creator. I'm going to throw this one in the S tier. I think that every single man needs to practice submitting to an all-powerful God. It is in our DNA as created beings by an all-powerful God. The sense of gratitude that you wake up with every single morning, knowing that you are not deserving of the life that you have. Knowing that every single experience that you have, even if it is a negative one, is a blessing. When you start to understand that, you start living life not like an entitled prick, but as an incredibly grateful person made in the image of God. I think most men need to find that fear of God within themselves. They need to bow before God on their knees and pray to Him on a regular basis. Practice that submission and living in the fear of the Lord. All right? The next one we are going to be talking about is mental masturbation. Pretty much what mental masturbation means is it means the process of raising dopamine in the brain by telling people your goals, plans, and how you want to change, but never actually doing anything about it. Honestly, I think that the majority of men struggle to set goals and to have goals. But there is a large sect of men that want to accomplish great things, but they are just frozen because they are constantly thinking about how they are going to go about doing something, but they never do it. They never execute, all right? This is a very, very dangerous trap to get caught up in. And I think that a lot of men that are watching my channel tend to suffer with this specifically. You might watch my videos and think, wow, Brandon is so insightful. Wow, Brandon's giving so much good advice. But then you don't take that advice and go apply it to your life. And your life continues to be the same. Day after day, week after week, year after year, no change, stagnation. Which is why I'm going to go ahead and throw this one into the A tier. I think that this is holding a lot of men that have a lot of potential and who have big dreams back. And that's why I think it's so harmful, is because it's a pitfall for a lot of these people that might even be highly motivated, but they never commit to the action. They know what they need to do, but they don't do it. And that's that being in that place is incredibly, incredibly dangerous. All right? So don't get stuck in that mental masturbation. All right, the next thing we are going to be talking about is going to be eating crappy foods. All right? I think that a lot of men would be a lot more productive if they just stuck to eating whole foods. If they leaned away from these foods that were giving them instant dopamine. And that is why I am going to go ahead and throw this one in the B tier. I think it is pretty significant. If you are a man, I challenge you, please get your diet in check and watch how it positively affects every other aspect of your life. It's incredible. The next thing we're going to talk about is going to be the Peter Pan effect. Now, you may be wondering, Brandon, what is the Peter Pan effect? The Peter Pan effect is what is going on in society today where men just simply are refusing to grow up. They aren't taking on any responsibility. They have the ability to live with their parents through their 20s and their 30s and even into their 40s. They never leave the home. Often they sit at home, sedentary, playing video games, doing a lot of the other activities that I've talked about in here, simply because they are refusing to grow up, because they have not had a burden of responsibility placed on them at a young age. And that's something that is necessary. It's so hard, it's painful, but it's necessary for men. We need that burden to be set upon us. At 18 years old, we become men, and it's up to us to grow up. So I think that the Peter Pan effect is something that is incredibly detrimental, which is why I am going to put it in the S tier. I think that we have a huge problem with men not growing up in today's society. It's ridiculous the amount of 30 and 40-year-olds that are just still children, waiting on their parents to tell them what to do. Next, we've got a picture of Alexander the Great here. And what we're going to be discussing with this one is the lack of male leadership in today's society. This is huge. I think that there are very, very few great role models for men out there in today's society. I think that we need more men that are out there being shining examples of men of principle, men of truth, men of action, which is why I am going to go ahead and throw this one up in the A tier. I am calling upon men. Go become a man that other men can look up to. Go give your wisdom. Go give the information that you learn to other men. It's so incredibly important nowadays. We need more men that are not engaging with all these other things. We need other men that are picking up their cross, and following their God daily. I think that is a huge one, which is why I put it so high up on the list. The next one we are going to talk about is just, you can see a protester here with a sign that says, "End toxic masculinity." All right. And so this one is going to have to do with the demonization of masculinity itself, which I think it's been harmful. You know, men have been scared to act like men, but at the same time, I really don't like blaming society for the reasons why men are in the current situation of being so incredibly weak, because the truth is men have control over society. Men created feminism. Men wanted to give women the right to vote. And these are all things that men have done. The truth is men still have a lot of power in society, and we just choose to be weak because things are easy. And so we roll over and we show our belly. That's how it works. I put it in the E tier because I think that we as men need to focus on the things that we really can control. I don't think that we should be worried, oh, society is demonizing masculinity, that's why I'm such a pussy. No, that's an excuse. All right? Next one that we are going to be talking about is hanging out with useless, degenerate friends. Okay? This one is huge. I hate seeing men stuck in a friend group that is just going absolutely nowhere. All right? You shouldn't be surrounding yourself with these people, but at the same time, like I said with the last point, you really should understand that your friend group is something you can control. Your environment is something that is in your control, which is why I'm going to throw it in the D tier. It is up to you to remove yourself from the situations that you are in that aren't benefiting you at all. And which is why I'm going to throw this next one, which is the city that you are living in the same category. You know, a lot of people will say, oh, I'm not successful because of where I am locationally in this specific city. I can't grow here. There's no jobs here that are high paying. What are you talking about, man? Leave. Go somewhere else. All right? The next thing I'm going to talk about is having a code, a list of rules that you follow, a list of commandments, a guide that you use to navigate life so that you can easily say yes to things, no to other things. I think every man desperately needs this in his life, which is why I'm going to go ahead and throw this one in the A tier as well. Live by a principle, a set of principles. Live by a code as a man. The next one is going to be alcohol. How much is alcohol holding back the average man? I surely don't think that it's as impactful as weed when it comes to the overall success of a man. So I'm going to go ahead and throw this one in the B tier because it is a drug. It can keep you sedentary. It can make you overweight. It can cause you to make worse decisions, which as I say that, I'm actually going to go ahead and move it into the B tier. I think that it's more detrimental, or just as detrimental as weed probably, because people make some really stupid mistakes. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Make sure to drop a like down below as well as a singular thumbs up in the comment section if you watched all the way to the end of the video. And I will see you guys all in the next one. Peace.